What's happening, family? Adrian back with another video. I wanted to introduce you guys to my father, Daryl Liddell Webster. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us. He passed away on April 13th, 2019. And this video is kind of two-part because I felt like it was very important for me to introduce him to you guys because he was a very big part of the person that I am today. And a lot of my life experiences were shaped off of my relationship with him growing up. And also, second part to that is just how the narcissist treats you when a loved one passes away. So I'm gonna go ahead and get right into that. But like I said, the Bible says that you should honor thy mother and thy father. So I wanted to give him a little bit of shine on this video. What's going on, family? I know you guys saw the intro, so I'm gonna go ahead and get straight into it. I'm gonna take you guys to the actual day that my father passed away, April 13th, 2019. I will never forget it. It was a Saturday. And the reason I know that is because myself and the narcissist had a trip planned to go to New York that actual day. So what ended up happening was she had spent the night at my house the night before, and we were planning to just get up and get on the road and head to New York, just so on a quick day trip, just to have a little bit of fun, get out of town. Of course, it was her plan, so I don't know if she had any ulterior motives outside of us just going and having a good time, but that was the plan for the day. The plan was to get up and we were going to drive up to New York. I'm in the DC area, so it's about 4 hours from here to New York. And we had just had this plan, and we had planned it for about a week or so. Now, she had spent the night before, and we woke up the next morning. We were packing the car to get ready, and as we were packing the car to get ready, my cell phone went off. And normally 7 o'clock in the morning, if I don't know the number, I'm not even gonna answer it. But for some reason, I answered the phone. And to dig a little bit deeper, my dad spent the last 4 or 5 years of his life over at a nursing home. I'll tell you guys a lot more about his situation in another video because I think it definitely deserves some attention. And I think it kind of shaped the person that I am. So anyway, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys about the day that he actually passed away. So I get a phone call, and it's the doctors at the nursing home, and they are like, "Hey, Adrian, you need to get down here. Your dad's not doing too good. He might not make it through the day." They were giving me all bad news, so they kind of put the urgency on me to get down to the nursing home. So, of course, me and my dad are really, really close, and I was crushed. I was like really hurt at the time. So I'm kind of scrambling around the house trying to get myself together and everything. And the narcissist is kind of just looking at me. She's like, "What's going on?" And so I'm like, "Hey, that was the nursing home. My dad isn't doing too good. I'm going to go down there and, make sure everything's okay," or whatever the case may be. And now she had met my dad maybe once or twice. They weren't close at all. But for whatever reason, she begged me to go to the nursing home with me. So she asked, and she said, "Well, hey, can I ride with you? Can I go down there with you, this, that, and the third?" And I'm kind of like, "Nah, this is kind of personal to me because of the fact that, like I said, me and him were very, very close. And then not only that, she didn't know him that well. So I didn't feel like it was a particular situation or a particular reason why she had to be there or anything." So I'm like, "Nah, let me go handle my business, whatever, woo, woo, woo." And she's like, "No, please, I want to go," and she was very adamant about going. So what I wanted to explain to you guys is a narcissist wants to see you in your weakest and most vulnerable moments so they can use that against you. And so that's what she did in this case. She wanted to see me at my lowest, at my worst. She wanted to see me hurt completely so that basically she could use that against me. And what I mean by that is, okay, so I finally agreed because, I don't have time to argue with her going back and forth of like why she shouldn't come with me or anything like that. So, of course, I'm like, hey, you want to be there, you want to support me. And at that time, we were, in the middle of, I guess, quote unquote, dealing with each other or dating, or we were in a situation or whatever the case may be. So I felt like, okay, it's not inappropriate for her to be there because we are kind of dealing with each other at the time. So I'm like, sure, come on, let's go. So we jump in the car. We are flying down to the nursing home because I'm trying to get there to, be there for my dad in case this is the actual time that he's going to transition over. I want to, be there and, just let him know that I'm with him in his last moments, that kind of thing. So we shoot down to the nursing home, and by the time we actually get there, when I walked in, the doctors had pretty much told me that he had passed away, he had expired. And they basically said that he was they were prepping his body for me to view him, basically. And he wasn't able to be viewed at the time. I guess, they had to, fix his body up for the family to see him so that we wouldn't see him in any kind of, really bad state or anything. So they prepped his body and everything, and then they let me come in and see him. And so when I went and saw him, like I said, we were close. So I started kind of talking to him. He was already expired. He had already passed away and everything. But I'm just like, why'd you do this? It was a lot of questions and a lot of emotions that had poured out in that moment. And what I noticed is the narcissist wanted to see that. Like, she wanted to be there for that, to see me in my weakest and most vulnerable moment. And it was a point in the situation where I got really emotional. Like, everything kind of flooded and hit me at once, and I'm kind of like all over the place. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling sad. I'm just hurt all the way across the board. And I'm talking to my father, and I'm crying, and I'm talking to my father. I'm like, man, why'd you do this? Why'd you choose the lifestyle that you chose, and this, that, and the third, and all of that kind of stuff. And what, in the middle of me like crying and being emotional and talking to my dad, she ran out of the room. And I couldn't understand that at that time. She just literally ran out of the room. And in a few minutes later, maybe a minute or two later, she came back into the room, and she was composed, and she was, normal and all of that kind of stuff. Now, what I believe happened, now that I'm looking back on it, I believe she laughed. I believe that in my weakest moment, in my most hurt moment, she knew how close I was. And when I showed that emotion, when I had that emotional outburst, I think it was funny to her. And she knew that laughing in my face would basically rip that mask off. I would see straight through who she was and all of that kind of stuff. So she had to leave out of the room to get her laugh on, and then come back into the room and act like nothing happened. And even on the way home, like, I was kind of like, that was kind of weird. Like, and I didn't really say too much about it, but I kind of just paid attention to her body language after that. And normally, if you have a loved one or somebody, if one of my friends has a loved one that passes away or something like that, I can feel the empathy. I can feel like I'm sad for them. I'm like, damn, I'm hurt for you, brother. Like, man, I'm sorry that you have to go through that, whatever the case may be. But in this case, she literally went the whole day with, smile on her face. She did not one time ask me how I felt about my dad, was I okay, any of that kind of stuff. Like, once we left the nursing home, that was it in her mind. And my mom actually convinced me to still take the trip to New York because she felt like it would be a good thing for me to get my mind off of things, because my mother knows how close me and my dad was. So just out of looking out for me, my mother encouraged me. She's like, no, go have fun. like, the funeral and everything will be here when you get back, because we were only going for like a day or so. So she was like, everything will be here when you get back. Go enjoy your life, go have fun. Your dad would not want you to put everything on hold because he passed away or whatever the case may be. So I went ahead and we went to New York. But I'm just noticing the whole time I'm like really feeling hurt, and I'm like sad about my dad's passing and all of that kind of stuff. And not one time throughout that whole weekend did she ask me, how I was feeling about my dad, or was I okay, or any of that kind of stuff. So it was just kind of funny to me that, when they say they lack empathy, they don't care. They don't care about anything except themselves. That's exactly what happened. And furthermore, once we started getting closer to the funeral, like we started making all the plans for the funeral, and we started gathering all the funeral arrangements and all of that kind of stuff. We were getting things together for, his ceremony. And mysteriously, like the day before, she just popped up and, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't make it. I'm not going to be able to make it. Now, this is somebody that I had been dealing with off and on for about 10 years, and I have known her since childhood. She's known me. She knows how close me and my father were, but she mysteriously had something to do the day of. And that's just something that I noticed, that a narcissist just will not be there for you when you need them the most. When you're at your most vulnerable, that's when they are they're at the height of their games. They're at the height of playing and, manipulating and all of that kind of stuff. So it's like a narcissist is not somebody you want on your team when you are going through at all. And I just wanted to give you guys that experience, because I lost my dad. He was, like I said, he was very, very close to me, and the narcissist didn't give a damn. It's like, actually, that's when she went on the attack. She went on the attack when I was my most vulnerable from that situation. So, and that's not all she did. I'll have to get into the rest of the story later, but this video is getting kind of long, so I wanted to just tap in with you guys and give you that. But yeah, they don't care, man. They don't care at all. They don't care what you're going through. And the more you're going through, the worse off the abuse is going to be, because they see you're in a vulnerable state and they're going to take advantage of it. So that's my video, man. Salute to you guys. Love you guys. Talk to y'all later.